Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back.
Oh, hello and welcome to a happy Friday here at Run It Back. I told y'all this thing was gonna go 7. I told you. And
you were right, Beads.
Fault.
You were right.
It's 1,000%, or fault or credit, depending on how you feel about it, because the Pacers last night were not in the mood to be done with their season. My goodness, this thing was ugly, and it was ugly pretty quick. Things are tied up, y'all. 108-91. Siakam with 16 points, 13 rebounds. Halliburton looked fine. 14 points, 5 assists. Toppin with 20. SGA finishes with 21. There's that stat. If he doesn't have 30, very interesting.
Two-timer.
Jalen Williams with 16 points. Not a great night for him. But everybody was very. And by the way, it's not just you guys. Like everyone was very confident that this thing was going to be over last night. The Thunder were going to win a championship on hostile territory. And then what happens, Lou? What'd you see?
We were wrong. I think, yeah, the more desperate team played a better game. They played like their backs were against the wall, and they wanted to push this thing to 7 games. They didn't surrender. Even when they got punched in the mouth early in this basketball game, OKC went up 8. They just continued to play physical, played through the whistles, didn't worry about the referees, didn't worry about missed shots. And that just turned into a lot of good energy. It turned into them just playing the best basketball game that I've seen them play in the 6 games of this series. You know, they got a lot of production from a lot of different guys. Their assist rate was up. I think they had 21 assists to their 10 turnovers in this game, or 23 or something of that nature. But they just got everything that they needed out of everybody, and give credit to Tyrese Halliburton, a guy that we obviously knew he was going to play this game. There was no way that he was going to sit out, but to play in the game with a strained calf, in the way that he played and the way that he brought everybody else. Early in this game, he was 0 for 4 to start the game, right? But he was aggressive. We've criticized him for not being aggressive enough. So even taking his first 4 shots and missing them, I think that still created momentum for this basketball team on the offensive end. And they had a great offensive night, and they were able to push this thing to 7 games.
Yeah, the Halliburton thing was huge, and we did talk about it yesterday, how even just to give it a go gives that team a boost, gives them that message that, hey, I'm willing to make this injury worse, that it's apparently going to take weeks to recover. So he's not himself, and he still went out there in the finals and played. And I fell for it again last night. I texted you guys when they started off 0 for 8.
Yeah, I did.
So it's a wrap.
Like you don't understand life.
It's ridiculous. It happened again, and then they go 8 for 10 after starting off 0 for 8. Siakam goes nuts. Nembhard has 3 straight buckets. The crowd then gets going. Obi comes in and has the 3s, and then TJ McConnell, which we'll get to, but they just completely turned that game around, and then that second quarter was insane. They completely tore it open, and their defense was on a different level last night. They were physical. They were getting after it. They played like the desperate team last night. That was an elimination game.
It's frustrating, but it's also great, right? Like, I'm happy for the Pacers. My bet's still alive, which I'm pretty excited about, selfishly. But it's like, man, if you have that in you, that intensity, that physical, all of the things we saw last night, why did it take having to be up against the ropes for that to come out?
Yeah, you would think they'd have that every single game, right? But again, I think this was a great strategy from Carlisle, where they were even pressured even more and made them make shots to beat you, and they didn't make shots. They shot 42% from the field and 27% from 3. So they were doubling from the weak side. They were getting in passing lanes. Every single one-on-one like this, they're swiping down, getting their hands on balls. They're getting in lanes. This is the one. Put it on his head. Like, plays like this were just so energetic for this crowd. And again, they made them drive. They made them kind of kick the ball out and make open shots. And OKC just didn't make shots last night. They were extremely ineffective. And that's exactly how they're going to play them again in Game 7. And it's a toss-up now. It's crazy. We all know the spread. We all know everything they're going to say. Pressure's on OKC. They're the heavy favorite. They're the best team. Right now, it's the best 2 words in sports are Game 7, and now it is wide open.
Is it really the best 2 words
in any sport? Baseball,
one day we
hockey.
should talk about that. I feel like there's an hour-long show that could be devoted to something like that. On the OKC side, by the way, look, we know they had that 40-point whatever blowout in the Western Conference Finals, Lou. But this is the finals, and they are the overwhelming favorite, and they were the best team all season long. And what can you say about whatever happened last night? They just looked not themselves.
It looked like Indiana played a better basketball game. And listen, at the end of the day, there's a Game 7 on Sunday, right? Like, they have both of these teams now have one opportunity to still win a championship. But it just looked like, the last game, I said Tyrese Halliburton, it looked like that moment was too big for him. It looked like he was kind of dealing with that. It looked like OKC was dealing with this a little last night. closeout game on the road. You know, at the end of this 48-minute game, I'm going to have an opportunity to celebrate a big win. And Indiana wasn't going for it. They weren't going for any of it. You can tell in how they ratcheted up their defense. You can tell how the ball was moving, their energy. Like I said, the momentum, the crowd. They had everything going in their favor, and it just looked like OKC wasn't there to match that energy. You know, so I look forward to an entertaining game on Sunday. It's going to be about like the rest of this series. This series has been a roller coaster.
It really has.
It's been a roller coaster. You know, we're talking about who's the favorite. Is this going to be an upset, this and that? At this point, I don't know who's going to win. Both of these teams have had big moments to where you feel like Indiana is going to have an opportunity to win a championship. You've had moments where you feel like OKC is going to win the championship from the fact that Indiana was up 2-1 at one point. Then OKC goes off and run off a couple. Now we're here in the Game 7. I don't know what the popular opinion is anymore. I just look forward to really good basketball, but it did look like OKC, they just didn't look like themselves last night. They were looking like they wanted Indiana to give them this basketball game. And
they were looking like there was a plan to be a Game 7 somewhere made in an office long time.
Which is crazy because you know they had like the shirts and the champagne in the locker room
Everything's
ready.
there.
They had to.
Yeah, that's all that. They've been favored in every game of the series, right? OKC?
By at least
many,
like
many points?
6.5.
That, by the way, should be looked at when it's all said and done as well. SGA, 8 turnovers. That's tied for the most in his career at any one point. Jalen Williams, we don't usually do a plus-minus, but when it's glaring and the result is what it is, we can mention that it was a -40. How much is they were out of it? How much is Pacers just crushed them? Like, well, what kind of...
Yeah, I think they just took away everything they did early, and that second quarter, things got out of hand. They won the second quarter 36-17, and then we know that it took 5 minutes to get their first field goal in the third quarter. So I think that right there was the game. Obviously, you look to their two best players, SGA and Jalen Williams. I'm not a big plus-minus guy either, but -40, it's the worst plus-minus in the history of the NBA Finals since they've been doing that. So, like, that's pretty glaring. You didn't impact winning at all. Matter of fact, you impact losing because you're -40, and no one's ever done that before.
Did impact that.
It's a skewed stat, though, but they have to be better. And, again, I think they will be better. I think this is the beauty of the Finals. Like we said, it's a chess match. You keep countering back and forth. But how do you counter them playing this kind of defense, this playing physical? Like, what does Oklahoma City do differently?
Yeah, aren't they going to do this again on Sunday?
It's not like you're just going to turn off TJ McConnell's water when he comes in the game. It's not like you're just going to turn off the physicality. They're going to play and they're going to pick it up another level.
At this point, you should. At this point, you should. Their bench has been so key and instrumental in these games that Indiana has won. You can make a case that in a few of these games, the bench has played better than some of the starters, right? And so when you have that type of, like Obi Toppin had 20 last night, TJ McConnell did his thing, and I've been saying he's Employee of the Month. He might not win Finals MVP, but he's definitely Employee of the Month for the Indiana Pacers. So when guys have that type of impact coming off the bench, you got to consider them in your game plan, especially when you only got one more shot to do this thing. And if these guys are going to continue to beat you and have the games that they're having, they have to be more of a focal point on your game plan going out into that scout for this last one.
Yeah, and they did to them what OKC did all year to other teams.
Correct.
And they caused turnovers. They had 17 points off turnovers in the first half. The Thunder had 2. So it's like they're beating them at their own game last night.
Which I'm assuming will be what Sunday looks like. Pacers, if they win Game 7, I love that we're talking about a roller coaster. Would it be the biggest upset we've seen
Yes.
in a Finals?
Yes, I think it would be.
Bigger
you can look to the Dallas.
Yeah, bigger than that
Miami, which is obviously also Rick Carlisle, and he's been there before. That one went 6 when they won in Miami. But yeah, I think it has to be. And again, right now, as a basketball analyst, we don't think it's that big of a lopsided match because clearly it's going Game 7. The spread being 8.5 in Game 7 seems awfully high to me. But again, the resume of Oklahoma City, the talent of Oklahoma City, that is better than the Indiana Pacers. That clearly means nothing in the Finals right now because they're playing harder, they're playing better. They're just, but they're young. They have their issues too. But yeah, I think on paper, for a whole 82-game season, what we saw, the Oklahoma City Thunder, there's a reason they were the 1 seed. There's a reason that they won that many games and had 2 All-Stars and had 2 guys on the defensive team.
Cleveland won a lot of games too, and they've been home for a really long time. Like, I keep hearing this, but I don't.
It's not as lopsided to me.
It has to be the biggest upset because it's got to be the highest spread, highest underdog.
So that, yes, if you're doing
numbers-wise, it has to be.
But it doesn't feel like.
We want to talk numbers, sure, but from a standpoint of both of these teams getting to the NBA Finals, it's only 1 or 2 champions. Alex Caruso and Pascal Siakam are the only 2 champions involved in this whole thing. It was a lot more evenly matched than the 1-4 matchup that it was touted to be, and it shows in it being in Game 7. So is this going to be the biggest finals upset in history? To me, in my opinion, I don't think so. When that big 3 went into Dallas, we thought it was no way that Dallas was going to have a remote shot at beating them, and Dirk Nowitzki pulled it off. In this one, yes, OKC was the favorite, but we also gave Indiana a puncher's chance.
And you said something a couple weeks ago. You said the seedings don't matter, which I totally agree with. Like, what are they? I don't even remember what the Pacers were. They were 4 seed? Yeah, like that doesn't matter. I think it's just the MVP and the multiple All-Stars, the multiple defensive players of the year. I think all those kind of statistics that go in with this team. We didn't even
have him as the clear-cut MVP. We still debated that.
By the way, it's still up. SGA for the regular season.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we still debated that. Yes, we know what OKC did all year, but as these playoffs went on and on and on, yes, Indiana was the underdog, but it wasn't this clear gap that we've touted it to be. And again, we're talking about upsets. Indiana was up in this series 2-1. They did enough to put themselves in the position. Every time that they needed to ring the bell, they've done that, and they've responded every single time their backs have been against the wall.
Yeah, I feel like I'm losing my mind sometimes because I'm watching them going, this doesn't feel that different to me. I know Boogie Cousins is standing by right now. We're going to bring him in because I do like the question. Would this be, hey, buddy, would this be the biggest upset?
What's up,
if the Pacers
Bug?
win this thing on Sunday? Does it feel bigger than Mavericks? Mavs Heat.
I don't think it'll be the biggest upset. Honestly, I thought this was one of the most competitive playoffs from start to finish. I think Indiana is a team that was somewhat overlooked when it came to this playoff run. And they're also a team that, this is something that you don't really see often, but a team that continued to get better as the playoffs progressed. So to see them in this position isn't, a surprise if you paid attention to how much they improved throughout this run. And but at the same time, OKC, they've been dominant this entire year. They've also been a team that's continued to improve. But overall, I think this was a pretty, open playoffs. I think it was a fair shot for any team to reach this point. It was very competitive from start to finish. But I mean, I'm actually happy with the results. I like the fact that this is a Game 7 type situation. I think the best team will come out on top. And I think this is going to be the most exciting Game 7 we've seen in a while. So I'm actually happy with the results.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there was I think the highest bet was OKC in 5. And now here we are going to 7. Like that's awesome. And we're talking about the ratings are going to be bad, 2 small markets. This series has been unbelievable.
It's been a joy. What I don't want on Sunday though is anything resembling what was last night. Either way, like I just want a good Game 7 because I'll be damned if you make us wait days in between games just to come out and lay an egg. You guys were talking about it in the thread last night. If we're doing a lot of ifs today, by the way. If the Pacers win, who are we talking about MVP, Lou?
I think it's Siakam's.
Okay.
I think he's been he's been the guy that's carried them. You can make a case. You can make a case for T.J. McConnell. I know I would. If I had a vote, I would vote T.J.
Lou is like president of the McConnell fan club. I love it.
Listen, I am the sixth man. Who's gonna make a case for the guys coming off the bench and make sure they get celebrated than me? But no, I think it's Pascal Siakam. He's been the best player in this series. I think T.J. McConnell, with what he's been able to do, he's been one of the most impactful guys with his presence and taking advantage of every minute that he's been on the floor. But it's definitely Pascal Siakam to me.
Yeah, I agree with Lou. It's got to be. He's been the most consistent player, right? And as good as Tyrese has been, I feel like when you think of this finals, you think of that 0 field goal game, you think of the 4 points, and I think that's going to hurt his chances. You see there the odds, plus 350 versus plus 1,500. McConnell plus 11,000.
Do it.
Take it, Lou.
Do it.
Take it, Lou. Listen, by the way, things could get weird here. If T.J. McConnell, if they win and he's got like 25 and like 7 steals, it could get weird. It could get interesting, but it's Siakam's to lose for sure.
If that were to happen,
you're not going for that, Boogie?
Boogie's made history.
Not even a little, not like a half a fraction, nothing?
No.
All right, who do you got?
I think it's Siakam hands down. I think, this is one of the main reasons they brought him to this Pacers team, his veteran presence, his experience. He won a championship with Toronto. I was on the other end of that, and he performed well against that Warriors team I was a part of. So this guy's been here. He's done this before. He's comfortable in these type of situations, and he's showing it on a nightly basis. So for me, Siakam is the clear-cut favorite if they so happen to win this series. I do still feel OKC pulls this series out. But let's say, you know, the Pacers do win it, Siakam is the clear cut for me.
That building on Sunday is going to be...
The building last night was crazy, too.
I do want to piggyback off Lou. When it comes to T.J. McConnell, I think when it comes to him, I think it's bigger than, you know, this run, you know, the playoff run he's having. I think he's the perfect example for these kids growing up, you know, that love this game. He's a professional. He's not the most athletic guy. You know, he's not the tallest guy. He's not the fastest. He's not the highest jumper. But he's a professional. He's always ready.
You could have just said he's white, Boogie.
But doggone it, he's good enough.
But I do want to give McConnell his flowers. I think he's the great example for the kids. That's the type of player that us.
He looks like a person that I like. I look like a lazy person. I could maybe be TJ McConnell.
No, because no matter how this thing goes, TJ McConnell is a legend in Indiana. Oh. He's found a home. He's found a base. He's found a place that the rest of his career he can go back there and be celebrated and be championed, and that's what we all really want.
But isn't that why Steph was such a big deal when because people would look at him, like little kids could look at Steph or TJ McConnell in this case and be like,
kind of see themselves.
It could maybe be you.
They're a little
no, they're very different.
No,
but it's the appearance thing.
She's saying basically they're more relatable. They're more relatable.
Like Boogie, I'm not gonna look at Boogie Cousins and be like, I totally could pull that off. Like never.
TJ McConnell looks like my accountant, and he's over here rising up mid-range pull-ups on guys that are 6'7". It makes no sense to the eye.
None. I kind of love this for him.
It's awesome. It's unbelievable.
It's been a really good story.
And it keeps doing it every single game.
I know. We thought last night, we're like, oh, no, he didn't have to do anything last night differently. The thing about this that I find interesting as well is we've spent so many years in this league, big three, and then you got to have big two. You got to have, it's all about the bench. I don't know if this will be a trend that continues, that maybe teams look and say, we need to start making sure our benches or something.
Well, I think that has always been the approach.
Yeah,
but what happens is you don't get the production out of it that you want, because sometimes great teams, they know how to minimize the guys that are going to come in off the bench and do that. We were just talking about Miami and Dallas. Think about what Jason Terry was for the Mavericks at that time. Like, so we've always had that, but we've never seen it on this stage, and the guy has such an impactful presence on offense and defensive end. You know, like, we know what TJ McConnell was going to do on defense. He's always been scrappy. He's always been one of those guys to get up under your skin, to be able to steal the ball on inbounds. But offensively, he's been able to score the ball. He's made defenses play him honest. They can't help off of him. They're sliding under screens. He's making them pay. He's beating guys to their spot, rising up for 7 to 8 foot jump shots. All of those sneak drives on the baseline. Like, he's having a hell of a run in this postseason for a bench player that's not even considered a 6th man of the year type candidate. Yeah. He's not considered one of those type of guys. But every time he steps inside the lines, he's made the most of every minute that he's played.
And I feel like there's a balance to it, right? Because I feel like you obviously want the luxury of a bench, but then in the playoffs, you always hear about the rotation shortening. Look at Boston last year. They played like 7, 8 guys. Even Denver didn't have the deepest team. Milwaukee, when they won, didn't have the deepest team. They had great 6, 7, 8 man. These two teams go 9, 10, 11 deep. So this is rare that we see it, and it is next man up mentality. And as good as the tops are for both of these teams, their benches come in and they have immediate impact right away. Whether it's Obi Toppin or TJ, whether it's Wiggins one time or Alex Caruso one time, they have so many guys that can affect the game in so many different ways on both sides. It's sad one of these teams aren't going to win because they both deserve it.
I know, it's a little bit odd. Does it change it? I mean, look, there are coaches out there we know that are never going to really change their philosophies. But so many times I think we look at games as, all right, well, if the bench guys are in, all you have to do is tread water and try not to let it get out of hand, versus embracing the bench like, nope, this is still time for us to be scoring and be offensively minded. So do you think at least 1 or 2 teams out there, Boogie, are watching this finals and going, let's try something a little bit differently moving forward?
Absolutely. We all know this is a trendy league, and usually the team that wins or becomes, a team that goes on runs of winning championships, the league starts to copy. It's a copycat league. So, and it makes sense to do so. If you find a team that, finds this formula of success, why wouldn't you try to, copy that same formula or try to apply it to your own organization? So I do think that's something that will start being applied to the league. And I think it's more so about creating good teams. We're getting away from the big threes, the big twos, and, that type of, creation when it comes to having a team.
The super teams,
I think it's more about I think it's more. I think it's more so about chemistry. I think it's more so about camaraderie. Guys that enjoy playing with one another. Guys that are selfless on the floor. And I think these two teams are great examples of that.
Boogie, answer me this. So a guy who hasn't been talked about much in the finals is Myles Turner. He's the kind of the big free agent for the Pacers this year. Win or lose this finals, is that a priority to re-sign him? There's rumors that he wants max money. Like, he hasn't had the best finals. What do you do if you're Indy?
You have to re-sign him. After the success you had this season, you have to. Myles has been a staple in that organization for a while now. And I also want to give him credit. This is a guy whose name is in trade room every single year. He still comes in. He's a professional. He comes out. He gives 110%. His impact, the way he celebrates his teammates, he's a great. He cheers for his teammates. It's not always about the numbers for him. One of the best rim protectors in the league. So I absolutely think Indiana should re-sign him, and I think the ball will be in his court as well in the offseason. If Indiana does decide they don't want to give him max money, I'm pretty sure it's a team out there that's willing to do so.
Yeah,
I think the ball is in his court.
Yeah, he hadn't been great in the finals, but honestly, who has on Indiana? They've all had some type of struggles at some point in this finals. Throughout the course of the playoffs, though, in every round, he's been effective. He's been productive for this team. And again, when you get to the Game 7 of the NBA Finals with a team that's built like this, max money, obviously, that's business. But from a basketball standpoint, you got to give Myles Turner another look. And what Boogie just said, he's one of the long-term guys that's been there. So for him to see the tide turn their way, and then they have an opportunity in 48 hours to possibly win an NBA championship with him being there, everybody has had their struggles in the playoffs, including Myles Turner. He has another opportunity to right their ship and have a big Game 7, and we'll put this conversation to bed. But as far as the money go, I'm sure they'll figure that out. But from basketball, you have to have a look. You have to keep this guy on your roster.
Yeah, and especially, again, win or lose, you took this team to 7 games, and they have a chance. They put themselves in a situation to win the NBA championship. And he's a huge part of it, whether he's not having the best finals or not defensively, what he does, impacting, blocking shots, rebounding, pick and pop threes, spreading the floor. He is the ideal, perfect 5-man right now. And there's a lot of teams, like Boogie said, like, you don't think the Lakers would love this guy to throw a bag at him? Like if the Pacers don't want to re-up. So, like, I think he's put himself in a great position for a huge payday. And Boogie also said, he's one of those guys that he's been in trade rumors, I swear, since he's been in the league.
Tenured Pacer.
So reward him, pay him. He's a huge part of your team.
Can we look at the James Johnson video together as a family? Let's talk about it. A little finals memory, little core memory made last night. Ejected for that, huh?
Yeah, he threw a little baby punch right there at the end. That's what did it for him. I wonder what happened right here, because he didn't do nothing to you, JJ. Why you tripping?
You just got in. Like, what happened?
Dylan Jones is a young player, but he knows who James Johnson is. You don't want that smoke. You don't want that smoke.
You got a double standing O.
There must have been something earlier that happened.
I honestly don't think it is. I don't think nothing happened before this. I think JJ just wanted to get off one time. I think he just wanted to throw his hands one time.
Got a lot of adrenaline.
I didn't see anything that happened before this. You know what I'm saying? But listen, everybody got a reputation to uphold, and so while I'm out here, I'm gonna make sure mine's steady. I'm gonna make sure my reputation is sturdy out here, and I'm gonna get me one off.
A reminder? I don't know. By the way, he did get a double standing O. Like, it just goes to show.
That's what he's there for.
It.
For sure.
Yeah. Look.
That's just a vet leaving his mark, man.
That's it.
That's a vet leaving his mark.
Fans were just excited about the entire thing.
JJ ain't played all playoffs, man. He probably was breathing a little hard. So let me get up out of here. We still got 2 more minutes left. Let me go and get up out of here.
It's too much. Here's the thing. I've already mentioned it, kind of, sort of, is what I'm worried about for a Game 7 is because when OKC lost Game 6, they went and beat Denver in Game 7 by like 30 points, which is it's anticlimactic, right? And Chandler, I'll start with you on this one. Are you leaning more towards we get one of those, or are we going to get an actual exciting game down to the wire?
I think it's going to be a good game. Like I said, we're talking about the spread 8.5. I think that's a lot. I think Indiana has showed they have the fight. You know, they have the resiliency to kind of overcome everything. They've been underdogs in damn near every series, every game this playoffs, and people. They use that as motivation, 100%. But now, again, it's not even about that. It's not about the odds. This is 48 minutes to win a championship and to do what we did last game, and that's play physical, force turnovers, make them make shots against us. And again, they shoot the ball a lot better at home. It is going to be tough. I think it's going to be a hell of a game. I think it's going to be competitive. You got to figure SGA is going to be better. He's not going to turn the ball over 8 times. That was the most in his career. J-Dub plus minus, love it, hate it. He ain't going to be minus 40. So they're going to be better. They have to make some sort of adjustments, but it's just going to come down to the will and who plays harder and who makes shots, and they both are capable.
Listen, throw all narratives out the window. When you get to Game 7, what are predictions anymore?
Doesn't matter.
What are predictions anymore? It's gonna come down to what team plays a better 48-minute game. Is this guy gonna do this? Is this guy gonna do that? They've done everything that we said they weren't gonna do at this point. Both teams, both sides have done something that we considered them not to be. We looked at SGA play bad. We've seen Tyrese Haliburton play bad. We've seen Siakam play bad, and so on and so forth. Game 7 is all about which team can limit their turnovers, limit the mistakes, doesn't give up. Listen, Indiana had 18 more shot attempts than OKC in this Game 6. That is a big gap in the game. Yeah. You gave a team 18 more opportunities to beat you. The assist-to-turnover ratio was there. You gave them too many opportunities. All of these teams are going to shore those things up. It's going to be a physical game. They're going to damn near want to fight like James Johnson just did. It's going to be everything that you can imagine for one. Yeah, the underdogs and the seeding, everything is out of the window. It's going to come down to which team wants it more and who's going to limit their turnovers and shoot the basketball better to give themselves a chance to raise a trophy.
One game for it all. All right, so wait, are you guys all okay seeing this thing? Is that where we are?
We've been riding them all.
I'm going with the home team, OKC, but and that is the reason I'm giving them the edge because they are on their home floor and they've been incredible on their home floor all season.
And this was so bad. Like they scored 60 points, I think, in 3 quarters. Like this was so bad. I think they're going to make extreme jump here. It's again Game 7, everything on the line. I think we see the best version of them, and yeah, I think Oklahoma City gets it done.
Boogie. You already said you're
doing it. For sure.
Yeah, I'm sticking with my original. I'm putting my mouth where my money is.
Guess what? And at this point,
it's also not a bad bet. Yeah.
I don't blame.
I'm not touching that 8.5 though.
Oh no, mine's just outright winning the series. That's where my money. I just want to see if I can get that. Boogie, don't go anywhere. We're coming back. We got to talk vaping. I can't believe I can say that out loud with Boogie Cousins on the other side.
You lock it up.
I don't know what they're doing.
Run it up, they run it back.
All right, Boogie's still here. I'm just curious what's behind you because you're in Dubai right now, and let me make sure I get this right. For the World Vape Show. What the hell is a World Vape? What's happening? What are you doing, Boogie?
I'm into it.
Hey, man, booked up. That's what he's doing.
Business, man. Business is business.
Booked up.
What do you do at the Vape Show? This is awesome.
I'm here to promote. I'm here to push a brand. You know, a new business partner of mine. So, like I said, business is business. So.
Well, and what happens at the Ray's Boo Boo room? I've been wondering the whole
Boogie,
first segment.
tell them more about old Ray's Boom Boom room.
Ray's Boom Boom room. You just out the loop, man.
Yeah, you don't know about Ray's Boom Boom room.
Boogie came in
You know what goes on at Ray's Boo Boo room?
Satchmo was in there last night.
I have a guess.
I know what goes on in the Boo Boo
Can't say I've ever
room.
been.
I know Lou know about Ray's Boom Boom.
Hey, Satchmo blew the place down last night, Boogie.
Wow, we got to step our game up.
Speaking of, by the way, I don't want to hijack this thing, but Magic City's getting a reality show? Yes, it's like a documentary, anyway, that's at the end of the show. We'll get to that. Okay, let's talk Kevin Durant.
It's the last day of school.
I just thought of it. I thought of it just now because I saw it yesterday.
We're going rogue today.
Talk to me, Boogie, about Kevin Durant. It's been reported, and I still don't understand the logic in negotiations of saying these things out loud, but here we are. Doesn't want to go to Minnesota, although it seems like Minnesota would like him to go there. But we would love to see a KD-Ant situation. So talk to me about why you wouldn't want to go play with Anthony Edwards if you're KD.
Honestly, I don't know why he wouldn't want to play with a guy like Anthony Edwards. And for me, I don't think it's a scenario where he's looking at Anthony Edwards as someone that he's viewing as a negative. I think it's more so maybe a city type situation. You coming from a place like Phoenix where it's warm all year. Maybe it's a situation where he doesn't want to be in the cold. I'm not really sure. But you know, I think Kevin Durant is at a place in his career where he deserves to go wherever he wants to go. This is a first ballot Hall of Famer. This is a guy that's set a standard in this league. He's created, you know, player after player. When young guys come up, you know, they model their games after Kevin Durant. So all of those things being said, Kevin Durant deserves to go wherever Kevin Durant wants to go. he's earned that right. And I think Kevin Durant is at a place where he doesn't really give a damn what anybody has to say or how they feel about it, and deservedly so. So I think he's going to try to make the best decision for him. He hasn't necessarily found the correct spot in his last 2 spots or since he's left Golden State. So I think this is a really, really important decision for him, especially with him, you know, he's about to turn 37. Obviously, he's in the later years of his career. He's closer to retirement than being in his prime. So this is a very important decision for him, and I think that's his approach as far as where his next destination will be.
Yeah, I don't think this has anything to do with Anthony Edwards or anything of that nature. When you get to the end of your career, you want to be comfortable and you want to be somewhere that you want to be.
Like live.
You know, like I'm no Kevin Durant, but at the end of my career, I told the Clippers, if you trade me, I'm going to retire. And they just outsmarted me and traded me to my hometown. They said, well,
nice.
are you still going to retire? So it just comes down to when you're in the league for such a long time, you want to be somewhere that you want to be, that you want to be comfortable, that you want to spend your last few years in the league, and you want to do that comfortably. So I think that's where Kevin Durant is. I don't think this has much to do with basketball. Anywhere that he goes, he's going to be impactful. And obviously him linking up with somebody that's considered him an idol, I'm sure that would be
awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure that would have been something that he would have considered, but if the circumstances were different. But it ain't all said and done. I'm sure they'll be on this list as well. But when you get to this point, you want to just play somewhere that you want to be. That's all.
It's interesting to me, too, because people get mad at Kevin Durant when he went to the Warriors. I am not one of them, by the way. But if he were to go to Minnesota, that's obviously they just were in the Western Conference Finals. That feels more chasing versus the 3 teams that he has said, like, I'd be cool with Houston, San Antonio, or Miami. If he goes to any one of those, I don't know if you have a preference that you would love to see KD in. Does that team automatically become a contender? Like, what does it do to any one of these 3 teams if they have KD?
This is Kevin Durant. Like, let's not sit here and act like it isn't. I mean, Phoenix was a bad situation from jump. They put a team together based off names. It was never a complete, team. It was never a team that made sense. You just put a bunch of scores together and then threw some other names on it and said, go win a championship. That's not how the game of basketball works. And I hate that, this great player has received the type of, negativity around his name when it comes to this Phoenix situation. Like I said, it was never meant for success. So even through all the chaos that happened in Phoenix, and it was a lot of things that happened. It was a lot of things that haven't been reported. I don't want to be the guy to report it, but I've definitely heard of some of the, negative things in the locker room. There was a couple of fist fights. There was a lot going on that obviously carries over into the court. So, for him to be the so-called blame of the negative seasons they've had, I think it's completely unfair.
Hold on. Boogie, are you saying there were fist fights in the Suns locker room amongst the Suns?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Interesting.
Absolutely. So with that being said,
that's normal though.
Is it?
Yeah, that's
boys
normal.
Are so
I mean,
weird.
it gets magnified when you lose.
Is it normal in today's game or is it normal in our era?
Good follow-up. Good follow-up.
In today's game,
Boogie,
you have to be super friendly.
I'm trying to help you, Boogie. I'm trying to help you, Boogie.
Why is that?
You said you didn't want to be the person to break the news, so I was trying to take the cut.
I mean, I'm not going to go into the details of who was fighting. I'm not going to go into the details.
Can I guess, and will you give me a nod? If I start guessing, okay.
This is more so about Kevin Durant still being an extremely impactful player.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy that was extremely efficient. He averaged around 27, 28 points a game. Like, this is Kevin Durant. So anywhere he goes, he's going to improve the team. So my thing is, I don't want this narrative of him being at fault of the lack of success in Phoenix. I just think it's completely unfair. So I think anywhere he goes moving forward, it will be an improvement on the team. Obviously, it's going to matter with the pieces they put around it, because wherever he goes, they're going to have to give a huge haul back. So you're going to have to fill in those pieces around him. You're going to have to make it, and it's going to have to be complementary pieces, not just names. Like, we have to get away with that. And the reason I say that is because the 2 teams are in the finals. It's not about names. It's about team. It's about camaraderie. It's about enjoying playing with the guys next to you. That's where the league is now. That's how you find success in this league in this current stage. So I think that's what's important. And, like I said, wherever he goes, he will change that team for the better.
Look, I want to get your reaction on a trade that happened earlier with Desmond Bane to Orlando. 4 first-round picks, Cole Anthony, KCP. First of all, is he worth that? Is he a perfect fit? Is that a lot for a guy like Desmond Bane? Like, what, do you think this makes the Orlando Magic better and a contender next year? What are your thoughts on this trade?
Well, obviously, I think Desmond Bane is a very good player. I actually like the move that the Magic did. I think it's the perfect fit for the team. But when you go and ask that question, is he worth it? Let's put names on paper. You look at a guy like Desmond Bane, and then you look at a guy like Luka Doncic. That answers your question right there. Hell no, he's not worth it. If Luka's only worth 1 first round,
I didn't know where you were going. I was about to say.
I know. I was like, hold up. That was a hot take.
Like it's just we're talking about an all NBA, multi all-star type player compared to a guy, that's just a really, really good player. So obviously the picks don't add up when you look at it in that way. But like I said earlier, we're at this stage in the league of where teams matter, camaraderie matters, chemistry matters. I think he's the perfect fit moving forward with this Magic team. I do still think they need a really good point guard. I do like Suggs, but I still think they need like an elite point guard. But I absolutely love what the Magic did with this. Okay. I think they improved as a team. I think they improved with a need for that team, and I think Bane was the perfect fit for him.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think he gives them shooting, he gives them defense, toughness, all of that. Wagner and Paolo Banchero, who you are on record, you love his game. Where does this put them in the East, though? You know Cleveland's going to be back. Tatum's out for Boston. Indy's not going anywhere. Philly has a chance to be better. Like, where do you stack Orlando now against the best teams in the Eastern Conference?
I think they moved into the top 4, top 5 in the East. I think they were a good team last year, but like I said, they had some needs that they needed to fill, and I think Bane was the perfect fit for that. So I think they're a very dangerous team in the East now, and I think they can challenge some teams. I think they make a big move, a big splash next season, and maybe a second-round type team or further. So
like that.
And they got a hell of a coach.
Yeah,
like that.
I don't blame you for that, Boogie. Hey, we got the draft coming up this week, and I know last time we spoke, man, you said you believe Ace Bailey should be the #1 pick. Since then, he's canceled all his workouts. He's yet to meet with a team. Listen, my opinion is he got a backdoor situation with somebody he's trying to slide to. He wants to play right away, and you look at the top 4 teams, they pretty much got their guys. It's going to be a work in progress for him to get big minutes. From that point on, there's going to be some scenarios where he may be able to get on the floor immediately and play 25 to 30 minutes with some of those teams on the back end of these lottery picks. What's your opinion on that? Do you feel like he has a handshake deal with a team that he's trying to slide to, or are they completely botching this thing?
Look, Lou, I absolutely hope this kid is getting the right advice. I hope it is a strategic move on his team's part. It's a lot of talent in this draft. You could say it's a clear-cut #1 or a favorite to be #1 with Cooper Flag. But like I said, I do think this kid's talent is through the roof. I think, long term, he could become a generational type player in the right system with the right guidance. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really a fan of this move. Not at this point. I still do think it's some things he has to prove as far as who he is as a player and the things he has to improve on. But I just hope this is a strategic move from his team's part. And there is, a backdoor type of, handshake agreement. But on the outside looking in, I'm not a fan of the move.
No, because sorry, I was looking at my notes right here. But Boogie, let me ask you this: what was your draft process like? Were there any teams that you didn't want to work out for? I know that. Did you work out for the Kings?
I did work out for the Kings. I worked out for the Nets. Well, in my draft, obviously, John Wall was the #1 pick that year. He was the clear-cut #1. But, kind of after that, it was kind of wide open.
Yeah.
So, for me, I just wanted to go be the best version of myself in front of whatever team, asked me to come in. And I wasn't necessarily in the position to, say where I want to go or who I want to play for. My approach was I just want to get in. And after that, work my way and earn my way in this league. I did have a workout with a team that was kind of out of my draft range. and it was a team that I would have liked to go into just for long-term success. I thought it fit who I was as a person. I thought, you know, I could fit that culture, and it was the Detroit Pistons. I went number 5. The Pistons had the number 7 pick that year. So I thought, you know, as far as, you know, match and personality-wise and culture-wise, I thought Detroit would have been more so a fit for me, but
you know, I kind of agree with you,
I like
Boogie.
that. I think that would work out.
I kind of agree. Now that it's all said and done, I kind of agree with you.
Now that we know what we know, Boogie.
But I wasn't in a position to try to sabotage, you know, my draft stock or try to, you know, force my hand and go somewhere that I thought was right. You know, I was just happy to be in that place and happy to have an opportunity, you know, to join the organization.
There are some reports out there. There's a draft prospect that passed on a workout with the Hornets because they don't want to play with LaMelo Ball, which I find interesting because that's a very specific reason to not work out with a team.
Who is it, though?
I mean, he's a kid. They're not. I'm probably not going to tell us.
Well, why are we talking about him then?
Because, I mean, the fact that there are people out there that are saying, I don't want to play with LaMelo Ball, I find that very interesting.
That's what I'm saying.
Hasn't even gotten to the league yet.
Like, who has the let me find my word
we have
here
eyes.
while we on
That
TV.
should also not
But
get
who
out.
has the gall to be in
I like
college and say, I don't want to play with this guy? You got to worry about your future.
Right.
Okay, so let's start there. Let's start there.
You got to worry about yours.
Do you have an issue?
You can even play.
Right.
You
got to prove yourself.
You most
Who are
likely
you?
won't play early anyway, so you're not going to play with LaMelo Ball anyway. So it's like, why are you worried about someone else? And I get like fit in situations.
But is it not fair to...
Unless it's Ace Bailey, put an address on it.
That would be amazing if it was Ace Bailey.
Put an address on it.
It's just crazy. I would go work out for a team when we were coming out just to get the NBA socks and the shorts. Now these dudes are ducking workouts over like fit and stuff. I just wanted the gear, but
I wouldn't turn down a workout for
no
nothing.
chance.
It's part of the experience. You work your whole life to go through this process, this experience. Trust me.
But what
man.
if you really look? It's first of all, let's look at it through the eyes. It's their first job.
I think I had 25 workouts though, and I loved it. I loved the whole process of it.
I had 9, and 2 of them were with the same.
So we're mad at the kid for not wanting the. We're not mad that LaMelo Ball's proven to be somebody that people don't want to play with.
Beadle, it's like you coming out of school and saying, I'm not interviewing for CBS because I don't like their daytime. You're going to interview for everybody.
If I was coming out of school looking for my first job, and let's just pick, like if Rush Limbaugh was hosting a show and they were like, go try out with Rush Limbaugh, I'd be like, let's not waste our time. I'm not going to work with Rush Limbaugh. Like, I do see there being some validity to that. No, I wouldn't.
Would you interview for the network?
But this is specific to the team.
Would you interview for the network? So
the network's different.
Yeah, so that's what we're saying.
What's he going to be, the ball boy for the Hornets?
No, but that's what I'm saying. For the team, I get what you're saying. But with these type of things,
I don't know.
Has Rush Limbaugh ever been fired? Yes. Like, so things change, and people come in and they change things. So if anything,
I kind of like it. I think it's a set of testicles on a kid that we haven't even seen yet.
Until you slide to the second round and you're fighting for your career because you worried about it.
It goes quick, too. There's only 30 teams. You're eliminating one of those teams.
Just
LaMelo
one.
Ball,
There's
and then what if he's on a
ones.
different team in free agency 4 years later? Like,
well, that's why his name's not on this.
It's just a weird beginning to your career to have these demands before you're drafted. Like,
so I really saw this question going a different way. I'm very.
Let's move. If we don't have a name, let's move on.
Okay, fine. Go on, Chandler.
Okay, let's talk about what LeBron said recently. He said that ring culture.
Of course, we got to get to LeBron.
In the NBA is a problem, Boog, and that basically we devalue players who haven't won championships, like the James Hardens of the world.
Talk about gall.
Yeah, like, do you agree with that? Do you disagree with that? I agree. I agree. A championship helps you get like in the Hall of Fame and some accolades.
Have we lost our damn minds?
Like if Blake Griffin had a championship, he's a no-doubter.
I'm talking about the messenger. I'm not talking about the message. The messenger is delicious on this one. Are we kidding ourselves?
Delicious.
Do you agree with that, though? Do you think it's a problem? Do you think we devalue these stars that never won a chip?
I think ring culture is very, very toxic. I think the message is overlooked because of who the messenger is. Obviously, he's the guy that's heavily criticized for anything that he says, good or bad. Usually when he does say things, people will find the negative in it, and that kind of piggybacks off what he's saying. But I do hate where, ring culture is. You're basically considered a bust. You're considered a failure if you don't, win a ring, and that's just completely unfair to the game of basketball. It's completely unfair to the athletes. Obviously, we use these things to, compare and rank who is better than who. But at the end of the day, it's all about perspective. It's all about, you know, what you value in the game of basketball, how you view the game of basketball. You know, some people view the game of basketball as you got to be the best scorer in the world, and you look at a guy like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Then you look at a guy like LeBron, and he's valued because he's one of the best all-around players that ever touched the court. Magic Johnson, he's one of the greatest leaders that ever touched the floor. Isaiah, when it comes to Isaiah Thomas, he's the scrappy leader that can, you know, overcome the juggernauts in the league. So it's so many different things of, you know, what people value when it comes to the game. But it still falls back on perspective. But I do think ring culture is very toxic. We do overlook, you know, greats like Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, James Harden. The list goes on. Just because you don't have a ring, it doesn't take away from your greatness.
I actually agree with the sentiment.
I think this has this is my personal opinion. I think this has everything to do with Stephen A's take on Giannis, saying that if Giannis doesn't get another ring, he will be he wouldn't have did enough.
Well, how about we stop listening to certain people?
I think that's what this whole thing has to do. That's my personal opinion.
I think it goes deeper than that. I think it also falls, it goes to the fact that who we're allowing to say who's great and who's not. Like, it's guys that have never played this game, even at a mediocre level, that have an opinion on what's great. It literally makes no sense. We got this social media world. Everybody has a platform. Everybody has an opinion. And it's guys that have never, it's guys that won't even get picked up in a street ball basketball game that can sit here and say what's great and what's not. And that's the real problem when it comes to ring culture.
So now we could do an hour on that. Zero athleticism. Boogie, have fun in Dubai.
Thank you, Boog.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We'll talk next season, perhaps. We'll be right back.
Absolutely.
Run it back, run it up, run it back,
I love this. Jake Fisher reporting that there's hope within the Suns organization that Bradley Beal can produce, just be great once KD's gone. Chandler, I mean, yeah.
AKA, he's got no trade clause, so we have to be as hopeful as possible. So you better be hopeful.
Light some candles.
He ain't going nowhere, so you better be hopeful.
He said he liked Phoenix.
Yeah, his wife, his kids, they like it. He's staying there. So you better, and KD's out. So yeah, sure. I think Bradley Beal has had a hell of a career. He's a great player. I still think he has something in there. But yeah, you like Boogie said, you can't just throw a bunch of names together. You have to find strategic pieces to add around him and Devin Booker moving forward to have him truly succeed.
Dude,
but yeah, you got to be hopeful, right?
What are you going to say? No, he sucks, but we're stuck. Move on. Like, that's not how that's going to work. I love this one, Lou. KD, there are reports from Mark Spears that he was interested. He'd like to go to the Knicks. He wanted to, but the Knicks were like, nah, we're good. You buying that?
Not buying. Put this out publicly and let the New York Knicks
who
fans...
doesn't want Kevin
Tell
Durant?
the New York Knicks fans y'all had an opportunity to get Kevin Durant and y'all turned it down. I ain't buying that. But
when was this, too?
But
because
however,
that depends.
Looking at some of the moves that the New York Knicks are making this summer,
Thank you.
You can never say never with this organization. But I bet you wouldn't put that out publicly and say, we don't want Kevin Durant.
No way.
Let's see where it goes from there.
We'll wrap it up on the other side.
Run it up, run it back, 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 run it up, and run it back.